joined by Woori Investment Securities analyst at Young Park. Young Park, thanks very much for coming in. Saw these numbers come through. What did you make of them?
Well, basically, the number is a bit better than the market expectation, which is lower. Was just at the beginning of this quarter, second quarter, what I mean, was just the analysts were market expecting like a 4.4 trillion won of operating profit for the quarter, but eventually just end up with like a 3.7 trillion. So we're just comparing to the earlier estimation. It's a bit of like a disappointment, but
and that's what we're looking at, really. But they've been knocking down their expectations.
Exactly. So
but there's a reason for that, isn't it?
Well, there was a reason, because it was just that the demand, it was just commodity demand for commodity PC was quite sluggish, and also the LCD TV demand was quite slow as well.
Is that because they sold so many last year as well? Because they sold them at ridiculously cheap prices in some parts of the world.
Yeah, that could be the answer. But still, we are seeing the purchasing power for IT products is pretty weak. That's because of the global economy status isn't that good. So that's why
and you've got so many people basically making the same things that it's almost becoming standardized. You could almost say that LCDs are being commoditized in a way. How do they turn this business around, and when is it going to turn around, if at all?
Okay, basically, I'm seeing like a kind of like a dynamic change in like culture. What I mean is that everybody recently is focusing on like a smart pad stuff and a smart phone stuff and a smart pad stuff. So we're just nobody is interested in TV stuff right now. So I think for the time being that the demand for the conventional TV should be quite slow. So I don't believe without like demand pickup from like a conventional TV, I don't think there could be pretty good answer for Samsung Electronics what to do. But well, as time goes on, I believe that the people's like concern or interest will move on from like a smart pad and smartphones a bit just to the conventional part. Then that could be.
It's about these things, isn't it? I mean, we've got Apple, of course, and a lot of litigation going on with regard to Samsung taking on Apple. How much is that distracting them from doing what needs to be done to turn their business around in certain fields?
Basically, was just But
I mean, there's lawsuit, there's counter lawsuit, there's litigation on all sides, basically.
But just considering the relationship between Samsung and Apple, well, just Apple is taking like a huge tons amount of like chips from Samsung Electronics. So I strongly believing that the relationship between Samsung and Apple should be maintained pretty good.
Yeah.
But just
I mean, there's parts of Samsung makes some stuff for Apple and some of the competitors.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
However, just Apple is just sending some like warning to the telco, telecommunication service providers. Well, just you guys shouldn't depend on Samsung Electronics that much, because we are suing them just for infringement of the patent. So that's kind of like a warning to the outsiders, not like a Samsung Electronics. Now, I strongly believe that the business relationship between Samsung and Apple should remain like pretty good.
Yeah, well, the Apple accuses Samsung, of course, as following its iPhone and iPad slavishly. That's the accusation. But we've got iPhone 5 coming on in the second half of the year at some point, at least. We don't know exactly. But that's going to hit their business when it comes to the smartphone business.
Right. But recently was the response from market for Galaxy S2 is quite good. Well, the reason why Samsung's actual number is slightly better than the lower the market expectation is that's driven by the Samsung's telecommunication business. That's because the Galaxy S recently is selling really well, even in Hong Kong and globally. So that's why Samsung Electronics recognized a bit of better operating profit. And even in Q3, I'm strongly believing that Samsung will do better than second quarter in Q3. We expect like iPhone 5 will be launched in September.
There we go. The share price down 1.2% so far today. It's down 3% over 6 months. Investors not really caring much for it. Why do you think people are going off the company?
Well, just the market was expecting like higher operating profit margin, and was the semiconductor business industry status should be good throughout Q3, Q4, and Q4 throughout the year end. However, as I mentioned earlier,
would you buy it now?
Yeah, of course. We're just, all concerns has been reflected into the share price. That's what I believe. So, going forward, I'm expecting like a better profit margin, Q3, Q4. So, at this moment, I would buy the stock.
Okay, last one. I didn't get to the chip business, but 10 seconds. That's doing well. They're managing. That's there are no concerns there. Okay, let's also just talk a little bit about the Olympic Games coming to South Korea. You must be delighted.
Oh yeah, it's very nice for the Korean people. We already tried like twice, and this is the third time. Finally, we got it.
Third time lucky.
Yeah. Also, could have a pretty good impact on Korean tech companies as well.
Thanks a lot for that.
All right.
Ian Clark there, he's from Woori Investments, just having a look at, South Korea getting those Winter Olympic Games and also, of course, Samsung's earnings, which is, of course, what we're really talking